Single mom stunned as CEO secretly offers to be her husband at a wedding. This incredible Momen. Emma stood in front of the cracked mirror in her bedroom, the faint memory of laughter echoing through the walls of her family home. The vintage dress, a pale blue, now hung loosely on her frame, a reminder of her mother's unwavering strength. With each swish of fabric against her skin, doubts crept in. Who was she to step into a world that glittered with wealth and ease? As a waitress juggling shifts, 2 kids' soccer practices, and the relentless tide of bills, the thought of being part of that glamorous atmosphere felt like an insurmountable fantasy. She hesitated, already picturing the stares and whispers that would follow her. Yet, the invitation weighed heavily in her pocket, a testament to a friendship that transcended their childhood. Would she let insecurities dictate her life again? The echoes of her determination mingled with fear and internal conflict that brewed as the minutes ticked by. Emma took a breath, squared her shoulders, and finally left her home, even as self-doubt wrapped itself tightly around her like the very dress she wore. Arriving at the venue, her heart pounded in her chest, anxiety and excitement captivating her being. The grand structure, its twinkling lights and polished wood, seemed to mock her humble existence. She could hardly feel the ground under her feet as she entered, loitering at the edge of the crowd, the laughter of strangers bouncing around her like arrows. Would they recognize the single mother behind the waitress apron? Would they judge her for wanting to belong? Before she could spiral deeper into her turmoil, Jake appeared, his smile effortlessly charming. Memories flooded back from high school, the shy glances, the crush that never formed. Their conversation flowed easily, like no time had passed, but slowly the weight of her reality crept in. Could someone like him ever see her as anything but a waitress in a vintage dress? "Remember when we thought we could change the world?" he asked, his eyes dancing with reminiscence. Emma felt a sliver of warmth ignite within her, battling against the creeping shadows of doubt. But just as they began to share genuine laughter, an announcement interrupted the moment: a dance competition. Laughter shifted into murmurs, and with a twinge of panic, she felt all eyes on her. "Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." As the music blared and the spotlight shone, she stood still, panic flooding her mind. Her body felt heavy, paralyzed by the waves of expectation crashing over her. Yet Jake, standing amid laughter and onlookers, offered a knowing smile, a silent encouragement. The flicker of hope ignited within her, momentarily overshadowed by the fear that loomed larger than any insecurities she ever felt. Suddenly, whispers spiraled into her periphery, rumors surfaced about Jake, his success marred by ethical scandals that made her chest tighten. Should she dance in front of him, in front of these people, knowing that just beneath the twinkle of lights lay questions that could unravel everything? With the atmosphere thickening around her, Emma teetered on the precipice of decision. How can you trust someone when their life feels entangled in deceit? Torn between her longing for connection and her commitment to integrity, she caught Jake's gaze again. This time it held an edge of desperation. Her options so painfully clear, heart racing, Emma faced a turning point that sent shivers down her spine. Was it possible that this night defined everything to come? With uncertainty wrapping around her, she felt the weight of choice bear down, dark clouds swirling ominously overhead. What would she choose, the glitz of hope or her hard-won sense of self? As the music swelled, Emma took a breath, feeling the stakes of love and integrity draw taut within her. One choice could change everything. Time slowed as Emma's mind raced through a kaleidoscope of thoughts. The spotlight was not just on her, it felt like it amplified every insecurity she had ever harbored. Her children's faces swam before her, she had chosen to be their role model. Yet here she was, about to expose her very essence under the scrutiny of the elite, questioning her worth and decision to even be present. The soft laughter among the spectators morphed into an internal mockery. Did they see her desperation? Moments ticked by as she surveyed those around her. A sea of polished shoes and tailored suits, glimmering with wealth and privilege. But then there was Jake, a spark amidst darkness so familiar yet so far removed. His confident stance was a painful reminder of the life she felt excluded from. No, not excluded. Alienated. She breathed deeply, regretting ever stepping through the threshold. Becoming a part of this world felt like standing at a cliff's edge, her feet restrained by an invisible tether that grasped her every limb. But the image of her children, a reminder of resilience, sacrifice, and relentless hope, brought a flicker of courage. What would she teach them if she let fear dictate her choices? That it was acceptable to retreat, to shun the light because it was uncomfortable? Emma cringed at the thought. As the couples began spinning on the dance floor, she sensed the energy of the crowd shift. Excitement buzzed in the air like a live wire, urging her to join the fray. For a heartbeat, she allowed herself to dream. What if she could let go, if only for a moment? Just a few minutes of freedom away from reality? But then the crushing weight of self-doubt pulled her back down. Was it really for her? Jake moved closer, creating a bubble of warmth. "Don't you want to dance?" he asked, his eyes full of intrigue. Different emotions battled inside her, a vague longing from teenage years flickered to life. Could she revel in this moment, even if it was just once? "I can't," she whispered, the words tasting bitter in her mouth. "Why not?" The gentleness in his voice contrasted sharply with the tumult inside her. It gave her pause. Why couldn't she? Was it a matter of pride? Fear? Or something deeper, that core belief that she was somehow unworthy? The rhythm of the music pulsed through the room, beckoning her. Suddenly, the overwhelming urge to reclaim herself surged from within. She thought of those endless nights spent alone, the dreams pushed aside for survival. What if this was a chance to rediscover those parts of herself she had buried? "Okay," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "Just for a moment." Taking a step toward the dance floor felt like stepping into a new reality. As Jake extended his hand, the warmth of his palm steadying her, she saw a glimmer of acceptance in his expression. The space between them dissolved as she grasped his hand, an invisible thread connecting their shared histories and aspirations. As they began to move, laughter and applause swirled around them, but Emma found herself locked in a bubble. Each turn brought a realization: this was not merely a dance, it was a declaration. For too long, she had tucked herself away, bidding adieu to her dreams. With every sway, she let the exhilarating melody reveal her hidden strength. But amidst the fleeting moment of joy, the whispers surged back, persistent reminders of the scandal that clouded Jake's reputation. Was she risking her dignity simply by being here? A reminder that entanglement with him could tarnish her already delicate journey. Questions nagged: who was she becoming? Was this newfound confidence rooted in misunderstandings or real connection? As the dance ended and applause faded into the background, Emma stood at that perilous intersection of choice again. Did she embrace the uncertain possibility that Jake represented, or would she cling desperately to the safety of her perceived boundaries? It brewed a cyclone of conflict within her. Just as she opened her mouth to speak, a figure in the crowd, a tall woman in a sleek black dress, caught her eye. There was a tangible tension in the air. This woman exuded a powerful aura, and as their eyes locked, Emma felt a shiver run down her spine. What role did she play in this narrative that was rapidly spiraling out of her control? What was about to unfold could alter everything Emma thought she knew, not just about Jake, but about herself. Emma's breath quickened as she recognized the woman staring back at her, an unmistakable presence in the social circuit, a formidable entrepreneur known for her cutthroat tactics and unapologetic ambition. The intensity of her gaze sent a jolt of unease through Emma, as though she were being assessed, weighed, and found wanting. This was not a mere connection of old acquaintances, it felt like the beginnings of a challenge. The woman, whose name Emma couldn't retrieve at the moment, had an air of authority that demanded respect. She was no doubt someone who had fought her way through obstacles, mastering the art of self-promotion and confidently claiming her space. In her presence, Emma felt like a candle in a hurricane. Jake's hand still lingered next to Emma's, as if sensing her sudden retreat into uncertainty. That warmth she had felt earlier transformed, now teetering on a precipice between familiarity and discomfort. What was happening? Was she really ready to lift herself from the shadows that had so long defined her? "Do you know who that is?" Jake asked, his attention directed towards the figure now lost in conversation with another guest, but her sharp gaze still traced the room. Emma shook her head, swallowing hard. "No, but something tells me she isn't here for small talk. She's a game changer. If she notices you, it can open doors, opportunities for your business, connections you never imagined," Jake continued, but there was a sensation washing over her that was more aligning to being an exhibit than a participant. What did being noticed truly mean for her? Was she ready to navigate a world of opportunity or merely exposed herself to the glaring spotlight of judgment? Maybe you should embrace this, Emma." His voice edged on encouragement but pulled with an undertone of urgency. "You've danced with the best. Own it." In that moment, she felt the shackles of her internal struggle give way to something else, curiosity mixed with determination. She thought of her children, those little beings looking up to her, learning resilience and strength through her examples. It clicked. Every sacrifice she made was shaped by moments just like this, times when she could either rise to the occasion or step back into obscurity. As she willed her feet to follow her heart, Emma resolved to be more than a bystander. "Okay," she replied firmly, emboldened by the very possibility of daring to speak. "Let us find out what this is all about." As she gracefully detached her hand from Jake's, her heart raced with newfound vigor. She approached the tall woman, each step resonating with purpose as the crowd washed away into a blur. It was time to rewrite her own narrative, one where she was not merely defined by her past, but empowered by her courage to engage with the present. "Hi," Emma said, extending her hand with a calm steadiness, despite the storm of emotions swirling inside her. "I couldn't help but admire what you've accomplished. I'm Emma." For a split second, Emma was unsure whether she made the right move, doubt creeping in, ready to upend her confidence. But the woman held her gaze, her expression unreadable for a moment that felt like an eternity. "Nice to meet you, Emma. I hope you didn't come here just to watch," she replied, a hint of challenge strengthening her tone. Emma's chest tightened. Was this truly just a social encounter, or something more? She had stepped into the unknown, eager yet apprehensive, feeling the gears of her professional destiny clicking into place. Would she sink under pressure, or could she rise to meet it head-on? As their conversation unfolded, Emma's resolve steeled. This was more than opportunity, it was a test of her newly found voice, a probe into the transformative journey she had just begun. Could she navigate this path, support her ambitions, and protect her burgeoning identity? With each exchange of words, the stakes grew higher, and her heart thrummed with anticipation. Suddenly, it wasn't just about seizing an opportunity, it was about confronting the strongest version of herself. Just as this realization pierced through Emma's thoughts, the large ballroom doors swung open with a dramatic flourish. A gust of cool air swept through, and in strode a figure draped in confidence, casting an unexpected shadow over Emma's moment of empowerment. What new dilemma awaited her now as the backdrop of her journey shifted once again, leaving her standing at yet another crossroad? Emma's pulse quickened as the figure in the doorway stepped into the light, instantly becoming the center of attention in the room. He was not just another guest, his presence radiated authority that echoed the woman before her. The dual currents of admiration and intimidation rushed through Emma, prompting her to take stock of her own vulnerability. The tall woman beside Emma appeared unfazed, her attention now firmly planted on this newcomer. "That's Jordan Hayes," she muttered, her voice low and edged with respect. "Owner of Hayes Financial Corporation. He doesn't just open doors, he builds new ones." Emma's mouth felt dry. Jordan, an influential name known for ruthless acquisition strategies and successful ventures, now had his eyes sweeping across the room, and she couldn't shake the feeling that he was sizing people up, cataloging potential in each individual. A wave of self-consciousness rolled over her. She felt entirely out of place among the titans gathered in the ballroom, far more experienced and polished than she could ever envision being. "Stay close," Jake whispered as he moved to stand beside her, framing her in a protective aura. It was reassuring, but Emma felt stifled. She had come here to step out, not retreat into safety. She turned to the entrepreneur. "What do you think he looks for in a conversation?" The woman raised an eyebrow, intrigued by Emma's sudden boldness. "Determination. Ambition. A hint of desperation isn't off-putting either, if framed properly." Desperation? The word stuck in Emma's throat, but the challenge glimmered in the woman's expression. "Every successful individual has been desperate for something at some point," she continued, her tone almost conspiratorial. "Use it. Own your narrative, Em." Feeling the words sink in, Emma straightened her back, taking a deep breath to suppress the bubbling anxiety. The conversation with the woman, who had seemingly taken an interest in Emma's presence, was an unexpected boost but could be fleeting. If she could engage this powerful crowd, she had to embody confidence. "All right," Emma whispered firmly to herself. "This is more than small talk. It's my moment to shine." With a deliberate step, she approached Jordan, who was now involved in an animated discussion with a group. Emma felt the weight of the woman's gaze encouraging her from behind. As she neared, she heard snippets of the conversation talk about emerging markets, investment trends. Each term stirred apprehension within her, but an undeniable spark fueled her ambition. "Excuse me," she interjected, her voice steady and stronger than she felt. "Jordan, right? I've heard about your recent initiatives in sustainable investments. It's impressive." His attention shifted, zeroing in on her. There was a flicker of surprise mingled with interest. Sustainable investments require innovation and commitment, but it's not for the faint-hearted. There's a certain resilience required, isn't there? Emma replied, not faltering at his intensity. "Yes, exactly." He surveyed her thoughtfully. "What do you do, Emma? Or are you here for the networking chance?" Every part of her wanted to recoil, but she stood firm. "I'm a consultant looking to disrupt traditional business models, focus on sustainability while still delivering profitability." "Just like you said," she added, challenging him lightly. Jordan's eyes widened momentarily, impressed by her audacity. "Interesting. And what drives you?" Emma hesitated, weighing her response carefully. "In part, my children. I want to pave the way for them to build a world where business and ethics align." In that moment, something shifted in the air as Jordan seemed to see beyond the surface, possibly recognizing the flicker of something raw and tenacious. Their dialogue grew, each of them revealing, probing. Emma felt an invisible thread stitching her ambition to her reality. She was becoming a participant in this high-stakes game, not just an observer. Then the inevitable happened. Jordan leaned in closer, both intrigued and evaluative. Emma's heart raced, aware that what she was about to say could fundamentally shift their rapport. "I would love the chance to discuss this further," he said, an unspoken offer lingering between them. Suddenly, it dawned on her the ground beneath her was shifting. She wasn't just talking casual implications anymore. She was potentially inching closer to a significant partnership, one that could elevate her business and herself beyond her wildest dreams. But just as she was about to seize this moment, a sudden loud commotion erupted nearby. People were moving to the dance floor, laughter and chatter rising to a crescendo. That tangible distraction ricocheted through her thoughts. Would this disrupt everything she had just begun to forge? As chaos reigned, a flicker of doubt crept back in. Would she dare take the next bold step, risking this newfound connection? The air was thick with expectation. Emma stood on the precipice of choice, feeling a profound tension between seizing opportunity and the looming fear of misstep. What would her next move reveal about her emerging self? Emma's heart raced, the cacophony of laughter and music swirling around her like a tempest. She could feel the gravitational pull of Jordan's gaze, steady and expectant, asking her to take the plunge. But the noise wrapped her in a cloak of uncertainty, momentarily silencing the earlier surge of confidence. Her mind spun with conflicting thoughts. This was a chance and opportunity as rare as the clean energy solutions she had dedicated herself to promoting. Yet, as she stood there, anxiety threatened to grip her. What if she stumbled over her words? What if she appeared foolish in the eyes of someone so seasoned? In that moment, she recognized the significance of her hesitation. It was not just fear of Jordan or the opportunity, it was a confrontation with her own self-doubt. Who was she becoming in this arena? Did she want to simply follow the path laid out for her or challenge it? With renewed clarity, Emma sought to disrupt her internal narrative. Jordan wasn't just a name in a business magazine, he was a person with hopes, fears, and dreams. In that realization, Emma felt a piece of herself shift. The doubt that clung to her like a shadow began to morph into a determination that burned brighter. "Look, I know the music is distracting," she said, breaking the momentary silence that had settled around them. "But if you truly believe in sustainable investments, then partnership is key. Businesses can't innovate in a vacuum." His brow furrowed slightly. "You're right. There needs to be collaboration for real change. But why do you feel this passionately about it?" Caught off guard, Emma felt her pulse quicken again, but this time in a good way. "Because, for me, sustainability isn't just a trend, it's a necessity. My children will inherit the world we shape today, and I refuse to let them inherit anything less than our best efforts." Her voice gained traction, rising above her earlier uncertainty. Jordan studied her, and for a long, breathless beat, the world around them faded into the background. He seemed to weigh her words carefully, the intensity of his scrutiny not unwelcome. Was she being evaluated for a role she had only just begun to envision for herself? "That's a compelling standpoint," he finally replied, an approving nod punctuating his words. "Have you led projects on this before?" Emma's mind racing back to her previous experiences, the pitches, the challenges she had faced and conquered. "Yes, I've worked on several initiatives aimed at improving corporate responsibility and profitability. The goal is to make a compelling case to stakeholders about the viability of sustainability as a business model." Jordan's interest intensified, encouraging a rush of energy through Emma. She felt her qualifications crystallizing into a burgeoning sense of legitimacy. Her voice steadied, she was no longer the subordinate figure overshadowed by the titans in the room. She was a contender. "Let us set a time to discuss this further," he proposed, his tone suggestive of a collaboration that could elevate her aspirations. "I might even have a few contacts who are looking for someone with your expertise." As he spoke, she realized she was grasping the reins of her destiny. In her mind, the walls that had previously confined her began to tremble, daring to cave under the weight of her resolve. This wasn't just about securing a professional relationship, it was about redefining her narrative, establishing herself not just in the business world but in her own self-concept. Just as she was about to respond, a loud cheer erupted from the dance floor, pulling her back into the present. The chaos had returned, but now it felt different, more like a background score, complementing the crescendo of her internal dialogue. "I'll take you up on that," Emma replied, meeting Jordan's gaze with newfound confidence. "Let us make it happen." But even as the words left her lips, a realization dawned: what she was stepping into required more than just a professional relationship, it beckoned to a deeper understanding of what it meant to merge her personal stakes with her professional aspirations. With Jordan nodding in agreement, Emma felt the undercurrents of possibility crackle between them. But before they could seal their pact, a voice rose above the noise, addressing the audience with an exuberant announcement. "Ladies and gentlemen, in light of tonight's fruitful discussions, we invite all of you to share the dance floor. As the crowd surged forward, Emma grasped Jordan's fleeting nod, understanding she had taken a significant step but still faced another crossroad. What direction would she choose to pivot now? The rhythm swirled around her, filled with motion and uncertainty. Emma found herself at the intersection of ambition and personal growth, with the music beckoning to her longing for both connection and independence. The foundation was here. Would she seize it? In the chaos of swirling bodies and vibrant lights, Emma felt a flicker of hesitation wash over her again. The allure of the dance floor, with its carefree laughter and camaraderie, stood in stark contrast to the serious conversation she and Jordan had begun. Yet, each beat of the music seemed to echo her earlier resolve. She had taken a step toward professional growth. Now, could she further explore the dimensions of her personal interactions? As the crowd swayed, Emma noticed how easy it was to be swept away, to become just another face in the throng. But she had fought hard to carve her own path, to assert her identity in a field dominated by established voices. Her heart thrummed with ambition, and she was determined not to let this opportunity slip through her fingers. Looking around, she saw people lost in the moment, forgetting their worries. How many of them were where she was, maybe even where she had been just months ago, doubting themselves in a world that seemed intent on defining their limits? The thought struck her with a mix of resolve and vulnerability. It wasn't merely about business confidence. This was about carving out spaces to be bold and authentic, both at work and within herself. Why don't we join them? Jordan's voice pulled her from her introspection. His demeanor was relaxed, almost inviting, and for a moment, the tension she felt dissipated. It wasn't only about the business opportunity anymore, there was a human connection forming. Sure, Emma replied, willing to embrace the spontaneity, the thrill of the moment. As they moved to the dance floor, she let the rhythm guide her. Each step felt liberating. Amid the kinetic energy, Emma felt a release from the weight of her aspirations pinning her down. Her mind drifted to her children. The emphasis she placed on being a role model echoed in her mind. Could she show them that fear could be a stepping stone rather than a barrier? "You've got great energy," Jordan remarked, matching her movements. "Only because I'm not afraid to let myself feel it," she replied, her self-awareness sharpening the experience. She was opening up, exposing layers of her personality that she often kept hidden beneath layers of professionalism. The dance became a metaphor. Each movement mirrored her rising confidence. With every twirl and laugh, Emma found the balance between her personal purpose and professional ambition, each part fueling the other. Yet, the moment was bittersweet. In the exhilaration lay a question she couldn't shake: was she truly merging her personal values with her professional endeavors, or was this just a temporary dance in a costume that would soon be stripped away? As if sensing her inner dialogue, Jordan slowed their pace. "Emma, I appreciate your drive. It's inspiring. But let us be candid, what are your long-term goals?" Her breath hitched for a moment, the sincerity in his eyes arresting. "Honestly, I want to build a legacy in sustainable business practices, a world where my work aligns with my values." His gaze softened. "That's admirable. But do you think you have what it takes to push that forward?" Emma's heart raced, not from fear but from determined ambition. "I have to, for myself and for my children. I'm ready to face whatever that entails, even if it gets uncomfortable." Jordan smiled, a glimmer of respect in his eyes sparking something in Emma. The scene around them faded, it was just the two of them dancing on this larger stage of life. But before she could delve deeper into their discussion, Emma noticed a familiar face from her past at the edge of the dance floor. Panic wrapped around her heart. It was a former colleague who had mocked her efforts to climb the ladder in their previous workplace. Courage folded into her thoughts. This moment wasn't just about Emma anymore, it was about showing everyone, including herself, that she could rise from the past's defeat. She faced Jordan and took a deliberate breath. "I need to go talk to someone, but let us continue this conversation soon. It's important." Jordan nodded, curiosity piqued. "Of course, I'll be here." Fighting the surge of anxiety, Emma strode toward the familiar face, her determination reshaping the narrative of her story. She was ready to confront the ghosts of her past, but would she find strength, or would they loom larger than she anticipated? As Emma approached the figure at the edge of the dance floor, her heart thudded in her chest, an unsettling mix of vulnerability and defiance circulating inside her. Memories of taunting laughter and condescending remarks echoed in her mind. Katie, her former colleague, had always cast a shadow just by being present, a constant reminder of every insecurity Emma harbored about her professional worth and legitimacy. Clenching her fists subtly, she sensed the room spinning slightly as she closed the distance. Despite the noise around her, a deafening silence filled her mind where determination wrestled with apprehension. What would she say? How could she confront someone who had belittled her dreams? Yet, it was exactly because of this lingering ache that she needed to engage with Katie now. This was about far more than a fleeting encounter, it was about reclaiming her narrative. Emma? Katie's voice, layered with feigned surprise, cut through her thoughts. I didn't expect to see you here. The insincerity dripped off her words, and Emma could see the gleam of superiority in her eyes. Believe it or not, I'm here to enjoy myself, Emma replied, her voice steady despite the tension coiling in her stomach. It's great to see you, too. Katie smirked, a flicker of recognition sparking in her gaze. You'll have to forgive my surprise. I always thought you'd end up well, somewhere less visible. That marginalized jab struck a nerve, igniting a fire that Emma had buried for far too long. In that moment, she saw an opportunity not to vie for validation, but to confront the misconception that she wasn't worthy of success. Is that what you think? Emma asked, not breaking eye contact. That I haven't achieved anything worthwhile? Each word was deliberate, pulling layers of the old Emma back to the surface, stronger than ever. I'm not just somewhere visible, I'm carving out my niche in sustainable business practices. Katie's brows furrowed slightly, surprise mingling with irritation. Sustainable business? Really? You think that's a real career path? I don't think. I know. Emma leaned in slightly, her voice dropping just enough to underscore the weight of her journey. And I want to build a legacy that empowers others to challenge the status quo, including you. Your doubt doesn't define my capabilities. With every passing second, Emma felt more anchored in her truth, an awakening that felt electric. This exchange wasn't merely a confrontation, it was cathartic. She was giving voice to her progress, showing that she had transformed the pain of her past into fuel for her ambitions. Watching Katie's expression shift from smugness to uncertainty, Emma realized she was breaking down more than a wall of condescension. She was dismantling her own perception of inadequacy. This moment was not just about reclaiming her former self but rather redefining who she was as a mother, a professional, and a woman. Good luck with that, Katie finally stammered, a hint of defeat creeping into her tone. Emma noted the shake in her resolve, a reflection of her own earlier fears. Rather than relish the moment, something deeper emerged within her, empathy. Katie, amid her defensiveness, was herself trapped in a cycle of comparison and insecurity. Thank you, Emma said a little softer, sensing the shift. I hope you find your path too. With a final nod, Emma turned away, a wave of exhilaration washing over her. She had faced a specter of her past and emerged standing tall, shaking off the layers of doubt that once enveloped her. Returning to the dance floor, she spotted Jordan, still in motion among the rhythm and laughter. His expression shifted to one of curiosity as she approached, and her heart swelled with gratitude for his support and the newfound confidence blossoming within her. How did it go? He asked, sensing the change in her demeanor. Emma looked back over her shoulder at Katie, now just another face in the crowd. Surprisingly well. I think I've finally learned to stand my ground. Jordan's smile widened. That's fantastic, Emma. As their discussion resumed, the music carried them along, but a nagging thought lingered in Emma's mind. She had taken a significant step, but there were deeper layers to unravel within herself and her ambitions. How would she navigate the complexities of the business world, now that she was embracing her full power? Just as that thought settled, Jordan turned serious. "So, tell me, what's the next big step for you?" Her reply was abruptly cut off by a distant sound, a siren wailing outside, which seemed to reverberate through her. Was that a warning? Or merely the unexpected coming to life at a moment she sought clarity? Emma felt an urgency rise within her, as if a new chapter was ready to unfold amid the rhythm of her heart. She would find out soon enough. Emma's heart raced, but this time it was different. It wasn't just the music or the adrenaline of her encounter with Katie, it was the intoxicating dance of possibility. Jordan's question replayed in her mind, a clarion call she couldn't ignore. What was the next step? "Let us step outside for a minute," she suggested, needing the crisp night air to clear her thoughts. Jordan nodded, curiosity flashing in his eyes as they found a quiet alcove away from the pulsing rhythm of the party. "Are you okay?" he asked, concern etching his brow. Emma appreciated his softness, the way he didn't rush her, but allowed her space to breathe. I think I'm beginning to understand what I want," she replied, her voice laced with excitement. "After confronting Katie, I realized that it's not just about standing my ground, it's about setting a direction. I feel as if I've been on the defensive my whole career, but now it's time to be proactive." Jordan studied her, the sparkle in his eye encouraging her to delve deeper. "What does that mean for you? A different job? A new project?" Emma nodded, a tangible energy radiating from her as her ideas coalesced. "I want to launch a consulting firm focused on sustainable business practices. Make it accessible for small businesses, not just corporates. Help them see that they can contribute positively to the environment and their bottom line. That's my vision." He smiled, his optimism rolling over her like a warm tide. "That's incredible, Emma. But what's stopping you?" The truth settled heavily in her chest. "Fear," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "Fear of failure, fear of not being taken seriously. And I can't help but think about the sacrifices I'd have to make as a single mother." Jordan stepped closer, his presence a comforting weight. "What if you reframed that fear into something powerful? Every entrepreneur faces it, but they push through anyway because they're driven by purpose." Emma's mind reeled. Could she truly embrace this? The thought of transforming her fear into fuel was both terrifying and exhilarating. It was a gamble. She had witnessed failure, the kind that left lasting scars. But she also recognized the empowering moment of her confrontation with Katie, how it had forced her to reclaim her narrative. "What if I fail?" she asked, her voice trembling. "What if you don't?" he countered, and she could see the unwavering belief in his eyes. "You've already started to confront the doubts others put in your head. Now it's time to face your own. You are not just a single mother, you have valuable experience and a vision. There's strength in sharing your story." His words rolled like thunder through her mind, shaking her foundations but also igniting a new spark of ambition. "You really think I can do this?" she asked, her voice thick with emotion. "I know you can," he replied. "You just have to commit to it, no matter the outcome. You have a chance to inspire others, Emma, and that's a legacy worth fighting for." The night air felt charged around her as she processed everything. This was more than just a career choice, it was a chance to empower not only herself but others who battled similar demons. Emma's gaze turned introspective, grappling with the weight of her aspirations and the consequences that lay ahead. She hadn't just weathered one storm tonight, she had shattered a glass ceiling that Katie hadn't even realized existed. "Okay," she finally said, resolve strengthening her voice. "I'm going to sketch out a plan to launch the consulting firm. I want it to be ready in 6 months. Now that's the spirit," Jordan said, his enthusiasm infectious. "Let us sit down next week," Emma proposed, her mind already racing ahead. I need help brainstorming ideas and getting structure. This is massive, and I want to do it right. Count me in, he said, and they shared a determined look that sealed her newfound commitment. Yet, as Emma stood at the precipice of her dreams, another thought nagged at her. Could she truly balance motherhood with this newfound ambition? Would the challenges she faced in the business world replicate her past experiences? The sirens from earlier echoed in her mind, a constant reminder of the stakes at play. She could feel the horizon shift before her, laden with both uncertainty and limitless potential. What would she need to sacrifice to achieve this dream? And could she really trust herself to navigate the complexities of both the business world and her home life? The answers loomed on the horizon, intertwined with the uncharted journey ahead. Emma felt a shudder of excitement and trepidation. It was time to put her plan into action, but first, she would need to reconcile her ambitions with her reality. The moment of clarity was coming, and it demanded her full attention. The following week arrived with a tangible sense of urgency. Every day felt like a countdown, as Emma continuously juggled her existing responsibilities with a burning desire to launch her consulting firm. Mornings began with the familiar hum of chaos as she prepared her son for school while simultaneously drafting ideas on the backs of oversized envelopes. Nights transformed into brainstorming sessions where every ounce of energy was directed towards the uncharted territory of her future. Emma immersed herself in research, combing through articles and studies about sustainable practices in small businesses. Each discovery affirmed her belief: there was an unquenchable need for accessible information in the business community. Yet as she traced the contours of her vision, an insidious sense of doubt crept in. What if she wasn't enough? What if her ideas fell flat, or worse, faced resistance? Jordan's words replayed in her mind: face your own doubts. She took a deep breath, using it as a reminder that confrontation was a vital aspect of growth. She wasn't merely trying to contribute but was aiming to create a ripple that would challenge an entire industry. That Friday, they met at a local cafe, a backdrop vibrant with chatter and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee that sharpened her focus. As she sat across from Jordan, her notepad in hand, the reality of her undertaking both thrilled and terrified her. I've drafted the core mission statement, she said, with both eagerness and trepidation. It's focused on empowering small businesses to adopt sustainable practices without compromising profitability. I want them to feel that it's possible. Jordan leaned in, his enthusiasm evident. That's a perfect foundation. But remember, clarity is key. Your message needs to resonate. What's your unique selling point? Emma felt her palms dampen. The ambiguity of that question cast a shadow over her confidence. Working in corporate consulting for years taught her to craft data-driven strategies, but this was personal. This was her voice, her story. I think it's my journey as a single mom in this environment. I understand the limitations but also the passion behind wanting to make a difference without losing one's self in the process. That's powerful, he replied. Each client could see a relatable aspect of your experience. Share that. It humanizes your approach. As they discussed the viability of workshops, online resources, and potential partnerships, Emma's initial apprehensions began to dissipate. Tangible plans started to form. She would invite other mothers and entrepreneurs to share their stories and methods, creating a community anchored in support and shared learning. However, as her vision expanded, so did the weight of potential setbacks. The sacrifices loomed larger than before. Could she afford the loss of stability that came with stepping away from her steady job? Did she have the fortitude to withstand inevitable failures, the kind that could impact not just her but her child? When they wrapped up their meeting, a swell of resolve filled Emma. I'll prepare a business plan, she announced, the conviction in her voice surprising even her. It'll be my roadmap. And I'll seek feedback from others to keep myself accountable. Sounds like a plan, Jordan agreed, a spark of anticipation in his eyes. But as they spoke, another flash of realization hit her. What if I'm not taken seriously? What if people dismiss my expertise simply because I'm a single mother? She whispered, the fear returning like an unwelcome guest. Jordan placed a comforting hand on hers, steadying her shaking resolve. That's just another hurdle to overcome. The world is changing. Your perspective is relevant, and your drive is commendable. Own it. You're stepping into a space where your voice matters. Despite his encouragement, the nagging fear persisted. The stakes were personal, and the repercussions of failure felt more significant than ever before. As she left the cafe, each step resonated with an exhilarating sense of purpose but was accompanied by lingering uncertainty. She knew that this journey would require embracing discomfort, fortifying her resilience. Emma paused to take in the bustling streets around her, feeling as if she were teetering on the brink of a new frontier. The pivotal question loomed: would she push through the discomfort to lay the groundwork for her aspirations? She could practically hear the sirens again, an echo of urgency and stakes. The questions weighed heavy on her, but one thought shimmered brightly: it was time to channel her fear into ambition and get to work. And as she turned to make her way home back to the warmth of her son and the uncertainty of her plans, another question began to form: what unexpected allies might she encounter on this journey? The pathway ahead was fraught with challenges, but perhaps, it also held untold opportunities for connection and support. The weeks progressed into a whirlwind of ideas, meetings, and growing excitement. Emma dedicated herself to transforming her vision into reality, channeling the energy that surged through her during her encounters with Jordan and the challenges of confronting her past. Each setback she faced became a building block in her journey, not just towards launching her consulting firm, but also towards an integral sense of self-worth. She drafted her business plan with meticulous care, fully aware that this was the foundation upon which her aspirations would rest. Late nights transformed into productive marathons, balancing her two children's needs with her fiercely growing ambition. Every obstacle was met with an unwavering ferocity, as she realized that vulnerability was not a weakness, but rather an essential aspect of her process. She shaped her narrative, infused her personal experience into her plans, and began to see budding opportunities unfold. A pivotal moment arrived with a call from Jordan, initiating a series of workshops aimed at empowering new entrepreneurs. The first one is coming up next month, and we can feature you. You have a story that needs to be heard, he said, igniting a flame of both excitement and anxiety within her. As Emma hung up the phone, anticipation surged. This was her chance to connect with an audience that could relate to her struggles and opportunities she had been seeking. However, alongside that spark of potential came an avalanche of doubt. Would her experience resonate with others? Could she inspire them when she herself still grappled with insecurity? The day arrived for her to present at the workshop, and Emma felt every emotion crash over her like a wave. Standing backstage, surrounded by people whose eyes she could almost feel upon her, an internal monologue battled for dominance. Was this truly where she belonged? The moment she stepped into the spotlight, the buzz of the crowd faded, replaced by a focused intensity that centered on her. With every word, she poured her heart into the message, recounting her journey as a single mother who had chosen to step out of the shadows and pursue her passions. Her story unfolded like a tapestry, highlighting not just her challenges but her evolution, how each barrier she faced fueled her passion for sustainable business practices. She made space for the vulnerability that connected her to the audience, acknowledging that her fears were valid yet conquerable. The room was silent, absorbing her words, and that silence began to feel empowering rather than frightening. She saw nods of recognition, felt the connection of shared struggles, and in that moment, she understood the significance of her journey. As she concluded her talk, applause erupted, washing over her like a warm embrace. Standing in front of those who had witnessed her vulnerability felt victorious. She had added a vital chapter to her story, allowing herself not just to occupy space but to command it, reassuring her that she was where she needed to be. Afterward, conversations flowed effortlessly, and newfound connections blossomed before her eyes. Individuals approached her, echoing sentiments of gratitude for her honesty, expressing similar desires to merge business with a meaningful impact. Emma realized, at last, that fear could give way to fulfillment when harnessed correctly. Days turned into weeks, and with each successful interaction at workshops and networking events, Emma found herself cultivating a community of like-minded individuals who also dared to step beyond conventional boundaries. They rallied around the vision she had laid out, a generous exchange of ideas, experiences, and aspirations bound by the mutual understanding of struggle and growth. Through her consistent efforts, her consulting firm began to take shape, transcending her original expectations. Clients began reaching out, recognizing the value of authentic leadership rooted in ethical practices, applauding a fresh perspective that was sorely needed. Alongside that burgeoning success came an immense realization: she was not just building a professional identity, she was crafting a legacy for her children. Months later, standing in a presentation room filled with engaged attendees, Emma felt the weight of anxiety lift into the ether. It had been a journey, a transformation catalyzed by willingness to embrace discomfort, vulnerabilities, and the wisdom gleaned from past struggles. She glanced at her children in the audience and smiled. The metamorphosis she had undergone was born not just out of ambition, but of a deep desire to create something meaningful, transcending her own insecurities. She had taken her narrative into her own hands, defining her journey through resilience. Emma stood tall, recognized for her competence and conviction. The voice of the once uncertain waitress had transformed into an authoritative speaker, demanding attention in every room she entered. With a newfound confidence, she embraced her future. Emma was not just a single mother forging her path, she had become a beacon of empowerment, challenging the norms and inspiring countless others to rise above obstacles. The applause washed over her, a testament to her achievement. She had proven that resilience could shatter ceilings, change narratives, and build bridges towards collaborative empowerment. Emma's next chapter awaited, ripe with possibilities. She felt a gentle reminder of where she began, the cracked mirror now reflecting a visage full of promise. She had conquered not just the hurdles of her professional landscape, but the perceptions that once held her captive. This was Emma's moment. It was time to forge ahead into the vastness of opportunity she had long dreamt about. With her children by her side, the foundation she established would continue to thrive, echoing the lessons of courage, integrity, and transformation, a reminder that one's story need not be redefined by circumstances but rather sculpted by each choice made to overcome. In that defining moment, Emma vowed to carry forward this legacy, inspiring not just her future, but the futures of countless others who dared to dream and to act. The journey was no longer about her, it was about a movement, a battleground for passion and purpose that would resonate for generations. As the applause ebbed, Emma took a breath and smiled wide, finally at peace with her choices and deeply fulfilled by the remarkable transformation she had achieved. She was ready to embrace whatever awaited her on this monumental journey. So, what will you do next to transform your own narrative? Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support makes all the difference. Comment your reactions and theories about this uplifting conclusion. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful message of personal overcoming. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to share and uplift those around you.